I mean, Paddy, what was he thinking, trying to put the surgery in jeopardy? I mean, I get it, he's sitting there and to take his mind off everything that's happening and make sure that he's not just sitting there in it, but honestly, what was he thinking? He could have, like, destroyed the whole surgery. Like, it really wasn't a very cool move, was it? But my biggest question of the day is who on earth poisoned Kim at this point? Because honestly, they're saying it was mushrooms, but let's be real, it could have been any single one of them at this point. Like, that's hiding it and we don't know. You know what I mean? So, yeah, who on earth poisoned Kim? Because clearly someone did. I mean, she was alright one second and wasn't the next. So we obviously already know that it's all been about Kim, and obviously we thought that she had been poisoned and everything like that. But it turns out that actually it's some stomach thing, because of her taking too many pills, and actually she wasn't poisoned by food. Which I suppose is a relief for the dingles and everybody who obviously we all thought that it could have been that did it to her. But it's been Graham that's been feeding her the pills, and obviously Kim's absolutely adamant that she hasn't done this on her own. And it's all been Graham, as we found out at the end, which is a little bit wild, because obviously Graham's been all nicey to her, and it's like he's trying to be all nice to her, but obviously it's been so that she'll keep taking these pills and everything. And then obviously poor Jacob, that Dr. Todd is really bullying him, isn't she? But like, she basically made the diagnosis of food poisoning, was so adamant about it. Jacob told Kim, and now he's getting in trouble because actually that wasn't the diagnosis in the first place, and Jacob's having to apologise, but really it's all Dr. Todd's fault. And her slimy little smile at the very end when Jacob was about to walk out the room at the end, her little smile of like, oh yeah, I got him because obviously I've made him make a mistake. Yeah, crazy. Poor Paddy, I mean, I'm so glad that he went to Marlon before anything got any worse. Obviously they tried to have the little day with Eve and everything, tried to make everything good, because obviously they're thinking that everything's going to change and it's not going to be good. But yeah, honestly, I felt so sorry for him. But like, just looking at the flashbacks of what it was like when he nearly took his life, and then like just saying that actually remembered, no, I need to go to Marlon. I'm so glad that he did. So poor Jacob, obviously this Dr. Todd wasn't being very nice to him, and he's seen her being a bit nasty to a patient, and of course he pulls her up on it. Well, she wasn't being nasty really, but she was being a little bit rougher. And obviously come to find out that actually the patient is Dr. Todd's dad, who's suffering with like dementia and whatever, which is like horrible, which has led to her actually being really nice to Jacob, because Jacob was there for her in the end once he knew the truth. And tried to send Jacob to this neurosurgery place. Honestly, I think she's going to get worse towards Jacob. She's just like, she really expects a lot of him, and she piles a lot of pressure on him. So it was really good today. Basically it was all about Paddy and Marlon and their friendship, and obviously Marlon tamed Paddy basically up to Celia and Ray's old farm so that he could like smash things up and feel a bit better. But I also loved that they were both comforting each other. Like, Marlon was like, I'm glad you came to me, with the way that Paddy was feeling, but Paddy was also like, yeah, of course I'll come to you. And Paddy was also there for Marlon, being like, you need to talk to Rona, because obviously Marlon has got his suspicions about Graham, which we all know that he's right, obviously. I still think Rona and Graham are going to sleep together. I don't know what it is, I just can't shake it. Poor Debbie, but at least Lou was there to look after her. Obviously she had a little bit of an episode of really not being able to remember where she was, but at least Lou was there to help her and look after her. So here's hoping that Gary and everyone can basically stop Theo before he gets Todd running away to Ireland. Obviously Megan was back around as well, but the good thing about the Megan and Will situation is that actually it's made Tim realise that this Trisha woman did the same thing to him. Obviously we know that Sally was saying this before, but Tim was denying it and saying no, it was all fine. But now with this Will thing, it's made him realise that actually she has done that to him as well. So he's going to want to speak to her about a couple of things. So obviously Jodie tried to she did delete that text for Bethany's phone from the guy that Bethany was meant to be going on a date with. But also, is this going to make Bethany even more suspicious? Because Bethany's already started to have her suspicions of Jodie and what she's really up to. So do we think that Bethany's going to try and do a little bit of digging and find out a little bit more about what Jodie's playing at? Right, I'm not going to tell lies, guys, right, but I really do feel sorry for George in this whole situation, and honestly, I'm really not liking Adam in this. I'm not liking him at all. Like, the fact that he's obviously doing everything to try and win this case because of the deal that he made, like, with Annie and whatever like that, and obviously he's doing anything to keep Annie on board and everything, and literally, he knows George, he knows that this is something that George would never ever do, but instead of actually trusting that and being a good friend, he's just thinking of his own business and his own life and being like, well, I need the work, so I'm going to do it. Yeah, not liking it really. And also, poor George, obviously, he was trying to mess with the witnesses a little bit when he seen Damon, but let's be real, he wasn't meaning to do it. He's just so desperate that this doesn't get held against him. I don't know about you guys, but I love Debbie and Lou. I love them so much. Obviously, Lou did that to protect her. Like, Debbie was obviously getting worried. Like, she thought she lost her journal, and obviously, she's got everything in there that she wants to remember forever and ever. And she thought she had lost it, so she was a little bit upset about it. And Lou kind of stepped in and caused the whole situation just to kind of, like, take the heat off Debbie a little bit. Yeah, she was being a good friend. I'm not going to lie, I'm loving Suspicious Bethany. Obviously, she's really suspicious of Jodie, and we all know that she's right, so can Bethany be the one to find her out? Because if anybody can, it's Bethany. Bethany can be quite sneaky when she wants to be, actually. And the big one, obviously, we have to talk about her. Literally, she made me sick today. She was absolutely awful. Obviously, Will had been there a little bit earlier on, and Maggie basically has a tracker on him, as we found out. So, of course, Maggie knew that he was at hers. So, Maggie goes round there and is like, you better keep away from my grandson. And all the rest of it, and they get into a bit of a confrontation. Now, Maggie barely touches her. She doesn't do much at all. But the next minute, Megan is basically screaming in pain. And then the next minute after that, she's been calling Will, calling him and calling him. She's told him about the tracker. Obviously, he's got rid of the tracker, so Maggie can't see. He gets back with her again, and it's like, obviously, she's told him about Maggie, and he's like, so what did my nan do? What did my nan do? And she then tells him that she's been at the hospital and lost the baby. Let's be real, she wasn't pregnant in the first place. Literally, she made it all up. Like, well, I tell lies because there was a positive pregnancy test, I think. So, maybe she was pregnant, but she clearly lost the baby before this. And obviously hasn't said anything. She's been carrying it on. And carrying it on. So, yeah, I think she's been lying about it completely. Or she got the abortion that they went for, and obviously she's made everybody believe that she was still pregnant. Watching the Todd and Theo stuff was actually horrible, because obviously seeing Todd be horrible to his closest friends and family was awful. Obviously it's all because of Theo. Todd just is not at the stage to accept this yet, that actually Theo's wrong and that there is something not right about this relationship. So, yeah, obviously I was right yesterday. Megan has done the termination, and obviously she's just carried the lie on. She's seriously awful. I don't believe any of these crocodile tears that she's throwing about. And honestly, I'm starting to not like Will that much, because I just want him to open his eyes and admit the truth, which right now he's just not saying the truth. And obviously Maggie, as much as she means well, but it's just a bit awful that, like, obviously now Maggie thinks that she's murdered the baby, but there was no baby for that to happen to, because Megan has already had the abortion. So yeah, it's just awful. I just need Will to open his eyes. And also Daniel, honestly, I'm sick of Daniel blaming himself for it, but at the same time Daniel annoys me, because I'm like, open your eyes. You've been in this situation so many times where somebody's been so wrong and they've been with you and you haven't opened your eyes to it. So like, you need to open your eyes, Daniel. I loved Debbie's visit with Jack and Kevin. It was so cute. Obviously she did forget about it, but she still went when she got told and stuff, and yeah, it was so cute. So obviously it was absolutely horrible for George. Basically it never really went his way in court at all. I felt so bad for him, honestly. I didn't deserve it because we all know that George has done absolutely nothing. But of course, yeah, sometimes that's the way these things go. But yeah, I felt sorry for him, especially because he's going through a lot at the minute, not just with the coach stuff, but with what's going on with Todd as well. Like, he's going through quite a bit at the moment. Maggie really wasn't very nice, was she? Obviously, she's let it slip about Ben, isn't she? About like his dad not being his dad. So obviously Ben's starting to question her as well. But she was also horrible to Will, like the way that she was going on. I know that she's like upset and she's trying to get Will to tell the truth, but you're never going to get him to tell the truth like that. Let's be honest. So yeah, that's it this week. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you soon. Bye.